Hello friends, hope you are well. Techman Pat here. Today we are going to be reviewing the GoPro Hero 10 Black. That's right, the latest and greatest out of GoPro's side of the ring. They do have a lot of competition these days, and I'm going to be comparing it to my GoPro Hero 8 Black. And the reason for that is, well, I don't have the 9, but these two are actually what we would call a generation apart. The 9 and 10 itself, it is a generation. The 8 and 7 is a different generation, and 6 of course. So big thanks to GoPro for sending me this for review. Let's get started by rolling the intro, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Okay, taking the accessories off, which GoPro is well known for their accessories. So I'm not really going to get into it. GoPro's created a fantastic ecosystem around their cameras to the point that there are other companies copying the exact mount system for these GoPros. But we need to understand what is the difference in the 9 and 10. And of course, if you have a 9, the question might be, should you upgrade to a 10? Quality-wise, the 4K, the color, the contrast, the details recorded on a 10 is so much better. So if you're deciding between a 9 and a 10, you should just go with the 10. It is better. However, there's one thing that isn't better. So let's get into what's going on with the 10. First of all, the 10 is a fantastic camera. It is actually a lot bigger than the 8. And again, the reason I'm comparing it there is because it has the previous generation silicon, and this of course has the newest and greatest and best. The processing power is out of this world for such a small package, but the problem is it chews through battery. Now I don't want to start this review negatively, but gosh darn, get an extra rechargeable battery when you have one of these. I used to have 3 for these, but I was able to get at least 3 hours 4K 60 recording. Unlike on here, 4K 60 is about 2 hours, 2.5, 2. And the problem is even the 9 got about half an hour more of battery using the higher resolutions on here. And yes, it does do something like 5.3K. And are you going to use it? Maybe if you want to downscale it to 4 and keep a lot more detail, yes, but it just chews through battery to the point where it's just not worth using 5.3. And at the same time, it has higher refresh rates. Of course, it has the 60 at 5.3 and at 4K 120 frames a second. Fantastic. That is the number that I love. 120, you can slow it down by half to 60 and get a nice slow motion. Technically, it's 4 times slow motion if you get it down to 30 frames a second. So, okay, great resolutions, really high frame rates, poor battery. What's great about it? Well, let's get deeper into it. So what's the quality like? Well, the contrast of capturing video is fantastic. The color reproduction is really, really good. Comparably to the 8, it's astonishingly amazing, but I guess that's what you get for 3 versions difference. Especially when you look at dark areas and very bright areas, it really does balance it out. I could call it HDR. I think it is HDR in a way, but obviously once you edit it, you can clean it up. But damn, it captures a lot of details in very bright and dark areas. And as you can see, some of the samples that I captured on my trip down south into the bush was absolutely fantastic. And of course, it was buttery smooth. That GP2 means that all the action that happens on this action camera gets nicely smoothed out inside the camera. You no longer have to get it onto the computer or onto the app, which we'll talk about in a moment because it's also a little bit problematic and I'm a bit pissed off about it. But hey, we started off with a negative, we got to go into the positives. It has an absolutely fantastic sensor that can capture beautiful details, and it's very visible. I compared this to some of the 4K shot on the GoPro 9 from a friend, and it was night and day. You could really see the difference, let alone my poor old GoPro 8. In front, we have a front-facing screen. It is color, which is fantastic for selfie, GoProing around, you know, when you're just walking around talking to the camera. The microphone is good. The problem is it should be better.
We're floating away. Floaties!
That was the sound outside when I was just chilling with the dog, and this is me just speaking in a quiet room as I do this review. Obviously it sounds great, except when the wind blows in and there's no obviously sock on your camera's microphone, that's when the trouble starts. But speaking to it directly, it's fine, but if you're out and about, it's not going to capture every single word everybody says. I mounted this on my bike. It has horizontal lock, which is just amazing. The GoPro 9's horizon lock was only 27 degrees, but this one is 45. And again, that GP2 processor is really doing a lot of work to maintain that image. And of course, it means that when you're riding around something like a bike or maybe even like a snowboard, which I use the GoPro 8 on in my past videos, this locks onto the horizon and that's it. You have a video that is completely flat and you get all the motion on the sides and so on, but it doesn't just bobble around left or right. Hyper Smooth obviously helps with the bumps and vibrations, but this locks it to that horizon. Let's have a look at the menus. Of course, you have the standard layout. You can choose the type of video recording at the point in time. It stays on if you restart the device, and so you can always return to it by pressing the record button from an off position, which is really useful if you want to just capture something quickly, because as soon as you put the record button on again, it'll stop the recording and turn off the device. This is fantastic when you're mounted on a helmet or something like that. Otherwise, you can turn it on, choose what you need, and of course, you can change all the settings inside. The menus are really smooth. The touchscreen's fantastic. It's also bigger than the previous versions. Of course, not the 9. The 9 is the same size. All the settings that used to be in this section called Pro on the app back in the times of the GoPro 8 is now available inside the device, and you don't need to switch between app and, of course, the device here. You can also use the device as a control box. So if you have your phone with you, you can use it to control things on the fly anyway. But most of the controls are available to you through the touchscreen on the back. Now the app. The app in itself is good, but my complaint is that they took away computer access. You no longer can add things like gauges and speedometers and GPS coordinates onto your footage without using the app. You used to be able to use the computer, now you cannot, and that is really bad. Come on, GoPro, where am I? It's so much easier to do all this on a computer than on a phone or a tablet. It's ridiculous to do that. And of course, there is the subscription service, which I subscribe to. At half price, $30, I was able to get unlimited storage so I can upload the GoPro videos onto the cloud and hence use the app to edit those things like add gauges and speedometers and whatever it might be. But it does go up to $60 after the first year, so I probably will be cancelling. I just wanted to use it for the review. Otherwise, you just plug your actual camera into the computer. It acts like a storage device nowadays, which is great. It never used to do that. Or you can take out the memory card and put it into your computer and of course download the footage that way. But the cool thing about the subscription is the ability to upload everything very quickly, especially if you're running out of storage on this a lot. As soon as you connect it up to power at home and the Wi-Fi is connected to this device, it'll start uploading it into your account and you're forever securing your actual videos. Now, they're all uploaded at full resolution, full quality, so you don't have to care about any compression rates when you download it back. But be careful because this uses a lot of bandwidth because the files are significant for uploading, especially on Australian networks. The GoPro, of course, can take photos. However, I would say don't use this as your photo shooter on holiday. The photos are 23 megapixels and they're beautiful, but you can still get a better photo on your camera phone, to be honest. But in the pinch or the moment, this will do some great photos, and as you can see, I took a few and they do look really lovely. So the GoPro 10 has fantastic resolutions at 5.3K, 4K 60, 4K 120 is my recommendations for most action shots, and of course, if you want to go a little bit lower but get that higher refresh rate so you can lower and slow things down, then of course you can go at 2.7K to 240 Hertz or refresh rates, FPS, whatever you want to call it. So yes, in the numbers department, the GoPro 10 is ticking all the boxes. Where it does fall apart is, as I mentioned, the battery. The other thing that I didn't like is the reliance on the app. Nobody edits it on an app unless it's me, who doesn't want to edit it on a computer and wants to just put together like a 20-minute video from like 10 hours worth of footage of out in the bush. And yes, the app lets you do that with a whole bunch of really cool filters, effects, and really automates the process. And that's what I like about it. So GoPro's gone from, hey, this is for professional users because it's GoPro 10 Black, but hey, the app is there for your run-of-the-mill everyone else to create some really cool content without being an editor. In any case, the image quality, contrast, the hyper smooth, GP2 giving it the most amazing smoothness of any camera. It's sharp, its visual fidelity is excellent, and so this GoPro 10 is incredible. But at the price of 749 Australian dollars, it has some really stiff competition from a lot of brands. It's not just GoPro out there anymore. They were first to the market, in my opinion, and they were probably the best at the time and slowly have reiterated their product, and it has gotten better. This is the best GoPro there is right now, and so it should be. But is it the best action camera out there? Well, at that price range, it's probably questionable, plus the subscription, but you do get a couple $100 off if you're subscribed. So I feel like GoPro is keeping you in the ecosystem, but the price is kind of matching that, right? Because they know that they want to sell it for less at $599, which is the special I've seen. At $599, that is a price that I would pay for this device. At $749, it is a little bit too much. You could go for something lower. But you know what? With all the chip shortages and all the other problems, this one right here, the 8 Black, is still going for $449 brand new at JB. So that's a problem right now. Prices are astronomical. You can't really compare how much you would pay for it because you can't really buy it at certain prices. So friends, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for GoPro for sending me this camera for review. I really enjoyed it, and I'm very thankful for being able to capture a lot of the special moments with my kid actually out on about and riding my bike. It was really cool to see what it all looks like, and in the future I want to do a couple of videos comparing these GoPros to other action cameras, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Make sure to like this video if you did. Make sure to also subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let me know your thoughts about this GoPro, and let me know your thoughts about the prices at the moment because they are insane, and I'll catch you all in another video. Thanks for watching. Bye!